Before its fall, the kingdom of Dra'vereth was known across the known world as the Crown of the West, a realm of unmatched wonder and light. Its cities gleamed with white stone walls and burnished brass towers that reached towards the heavens. Across its vast expanse stretched the forests of Thornvale and Elder Green, golden plains rich with grain, and mountains whose hearts were veined with sapphire, copper and steel. The Elder Green wood, vast and fertile at the kingdom's southern point, yielded fruit and game beyond measure, while the rivers that flowed from the mountain peaks glimmered with the purest of crystal waters. Dra'vereth was a kingdom of not just men, but of many peoples. The elves of Solarian, the dwarves of the deep forged mountains, to name but only a few. United beneath one crown, these peoples thrived in harmony, their crafts and magics intertwined beautifully. Their greatest triumph was the creation of the bronze sentinels, towering figures of gold-bronze alloy, of which can only be found in the mainland. Each sentinel was a masterpiece of runes and spirit work, animated by a radiant rune that was drawn from the mines beneath the deep forged mountains. They were not mere constructs, but companions and guardians, possessing both thought and loyalty. They laboured in the fields beside mere mortals, tended to the gardens in the cities, guarded the mountain passes, and patrolled the walls of every city. Above this realm of light rose the capital of Cloudborn, a city of marble bridges and great steel towers. Within it stood the Hall of Tundra, where scholars, inventors, and mages gathered under the patronage of King Harold Gala III, known as the Bright King. The Gala line had ruled these lands for generations, each ruler adding to the splendour of their age. Harold was beloved among all races, and under his reign, Dra'vereth seemed destined for eternity. Yet, beneath its shining streets and song-filled forests, the earth itself began to stir. Strange tremors troubled the mines and shook the streets and cities above, causing widespread damages across the kingdom. In the deep halls of the Hall of Tundra, scholars spoke of imbalance, of the land starting to cry out for help, and in that time, whispers grew and fearful rumours amongst the inhabitants that within the lower chambers of the hall, a forbidden ritual had been attempted, a work meant to pierce the final veil of creation. Whether truth or superstition, something awoke beneath Dra'vereth. The ground split open across all four corners of the mainland, and from its wounds poured fire and dark shadows. The skies blackened above the cities, and from the fissures rose the armies of the abyss, creatures from the pits of hell itself, their forms shifting like nightmares made of flesh and bone. Cities fell across the kingdom one by one. The elves to the northwest were burned from their land. The dwarven halls rang with the sound of screams rather than the clang of hammers, and the plains were drowned in darkness. They were no match for the army of the abyss. King Harold called his host to arms. The united people of Dra'vereth joined by the radiant ranks of the bronze sentinels. Together they stood against the onslaught. The sentinels, their runes blazing like miniature suns, marched shoulder to shoulder with mortal warriors. The battles raged on for weeks, shaking the earth itself. Yet the enemy seemed endless, rising faster from the breaches than they could be struck down. When at last the capital of Cloudborn fell, Harold led the remnants of his people to Fort Nagil, the last stronghold guarding the Bridge of Durvok, the ancient span that connected the lands of Dra'vereth to the Binding Isle. And there, on that bridge itself, amid the chaos and pandemonium, is where King Harold made his final stand. His sons, Harold IV, Meltus and Fallon, led the refugees across the bridge while their father held the line. For 2 days and 2 nights, the Bright King and his warriors fought while the bridges trembled underfoot, holding the line at the gates of Nagil. And when the last of his people had crossed to safety, Harold gave the final order: the bridge must be destroyed, to stop the spread of chaos. The bronze sentinels, battered and broken, locked their gleaming arms upon the enemy and held them fast as the charges ignited. The Bridge of Durvok collapsed into the roaring sea, taking with it the Bright King, his soldiers, and the last of the Golden Giants, and with their fall, the light of Dra'vereth was extinguished. Centuries have passed since that day. The land of Dra'vereth now lies silent beyond the western mist across the sea, shrouded in legend and fear. No ships sail for its shores, for none who have gone have ever returned. Some say it is cursed, a wasteland where the air is thick with plague and sickness. Others whisper that the bronze sentinels still patrol the ruins, their once bright cores now dim and cold, walking aimlessly through the empty streets that remember no footsteps. And at sunset, when the western horizon burns crimson and the sea glows as if with the distant fire, Sailors swear they can hear the faint tolling of Dra'vereth's long-lost bells. The sound drifts across the waves, soft and sorrowful, but impossibly far away.